Abby Jimenez's writing so much. I feel like her rom-coms, like I said, are so good. Her characters are always so multifaceted. Like, in the depths of my soul, it's never gonna sit right with me if the characters only are focused on the romance. I don't fully know what this book is about, but I'm really excited because I love Laura Dave. It's a whole entire new series. Are you kidding me? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Another day, another video. Vlogmas has been so much fun so far. Happy Vlogmas Day 8. Today's video is one that I did also last year, which I loved doing that video last year. I feel like, especially just looking back at it, this video is always gonna hold a special place in my heart because one thing about a new year rolling in is I will always be so excited for the new book releases. When I tell you there are so many books that are coming out in 2026 that I just have to get my hands on. Like, all the books I'm gonna talk about today, I truly will do anything to get my hands on them next year. So excited to read all of the new 2026 book releases, but I did compile a list of like specific ones that I'm most excited for because, as you guys know, I'm very specific with genres that I like and authors I like. So of course I had to compile a list of specific books that I'm really excited for 2026. There's a lot, but for the sake of you guys and not having to listen to me talk for a while, I only put 10 books on the list of books that I'm excited for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into today's video. The first book that I'm really excited for 2026 is called The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. I love Abby Jimenez so much. She is one of my top tier romance authors. I'm always gonna be that girl that loves rom-coms, and Abby Jimenez just does them so well. I feel like her writing makes her rom-coms a little bit deeper than just like a ha 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 like fun time. It's a little bit deeper, and normally the characters have a really tragic thing that happened in their past, which, you know, sometimes does make me want to cry, but I love Abby Jimenez so much. Honestly, count how many times I say I'm so excited in today's video because it's gonna happen a lot, unfortunately, and you guys are gonna have to hear it. All that I know so far about this book is that it's kind of a split-second decision type of book, like what would happen if you didn't make a split-second decision, and I think it's following our main girl character is going home one night from a concert, and I think it's like she has to choose who she drives home with, and I don't know what that entails, but I think it's like what would happen if she just made a split-second decision and like said yes to something or said no to something. I don't know. Hey, I don't know. But I just love Abby Jimenez's writing so much. I feel like her rom-coms, like I said, are so good, and especially her characters. Guys, something has to be said about Abby Jimenez's characters because her characters are always so multifaceted and they always have so many different things going on. Something about me is that if I'm reading a rom-com, it's just not gonna sit right with me. Like, in the depths of my soul, it's never gonna sit right with me if the characters only are focused on the romance. Like, I get the book is a romance book, but there is more to life than just romance. So I think it's just really important when you have a romance book to have the characters have a bunch of other things going on, and also like just have them have other emotions other than just, oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed with this one person. It's like, yes, you can like have this love story unfolding, but at the same time, these characters need to have more things to them. I knew that when I got to talking about this book that there would be some sort of rant going on, so sorry about that one. But to bring it all back around, I feel like Abby Jimenez does it so well. Like, every single one of her characters I'm just utterly obsessed with because it's always so much deeper than just a romance book. Okay, so the next book that I'm really excited for is actually one of those authors that I feel like I don't really talk about much, but I'm utterly obsessed with them. That is none other than Laura Dave. The book that I'm talking about is called The First Time I Saw Him, and actually The First Time I Saw Him is a sequel to The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave, which, to be fair, I have not read this book yet, but I'm still gonna talk about The First Time I Saw Him because I just love Laura Dave so much. One of her books called 800 Grapes is literally on my favorite shelf up at the top of my bookshelf. I don't fully understand the plot. I feel like, especially with thriller/mystery books, I don't like to know a bunch of the plot before I go into it because honestly, no matter what, you're going to end up with a spoiler if you look too far into like, what is this book about? So normally with like thriller/mystery books, I don't really try to pay attention to what it's about. I kind of just go into them blind. But the only things that I know about the book is that it follows Hannah, Bailey, and Owen. Now, Hannah is the mother of Bailey, I believe, and Owen is the husband. Now, Owen ends up randomly disappearing, and I know that in The Last Thing He Told Me, that's kind of the whole plot of the book, is that Owen disappeared. And then in The First Time I Saw Him, all that I know about that book is that I think Owen shows up again. So The First Time I Saw Him, really excited for that book. I just love Laura Dave, so of course I need to read The Last Thing He Told Me first. Anyways, that's all to say about that because I can't really say much. I have not read the first book. This next one is called The Shippers by Catherine Center. This year I have just fallen in love with Catherine Center books. I just find them so fun. Everything about a Catherine Center book just always holds a special place in my heart. I love her writing so much. The childhood friends to lovers, it follows Jojo and Cooper. Now Jojo's sister is getting married and it's a destination wedding on a cruise ship. Cooper is Jojo's like childhood best friend and she recruits Cooper to basically help her go find the love of her life on a cruise ship. I'm really excited for this book. I also just always love the settings that Catherine Center has. Guys, it's set on a cruise ship. It's a destination wedding. You know the vibes are going to be immaculate. You just know it. Now this next book we have is actually by an author that I have a bunch of her books on my shelf, but I've never read one. Actually, that's a lie. I literally just fact checked myself in real time. I've read The Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth, and this new book that she has that's coming out is called Mad Mabel. Now Mad Mabel, as far as I know, it follows the story of a young girl who befriends this older woman, and this older woman, for some reason, people in her life keep mysteriously dying. And it's kind of just something that has happened to her entire life. So when this younger girl befriends this older woman who like has this weird, mysterious death thing occurring constantly with people around her in her life, it's just gonna end up like a mystery type of aspect. The second I read the premise of this book, I was like, whoa, if I'm gonna read a Sally Hepworth book, it needs to be this one. I have so many other books of hers on my shelf, but I've only read one other book by her. I just know that this is gonna be the book that truly gets me into Sally Hepworth's writing. I also just think that something always needs to be said about some sort of like older person in a book. I always find it so interesting because the way that instead of watching their life pan out, you're kind of hearing them talk about what happened in their life, because instead of us as readers following the story from A to B, we are already at point B and we're just listening to this character talk about how she got from point A to B, but we were never part of that. I am so excited for this book. Can't wait for it to come out. The next book is also a thriller / mystery book, which is funny because I'm always the first person to be like, I don't like those books. That's not the category of books that I like. But then I'm also the first person to be obsessed with one of those books or be like, oh my god, I'm so excited for it to come out. Truly make it make sense. But the next book is called Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden. Frida McFadden is also one of those exceptions for me. I always love a Frida McFadden book. Frida McFadden's writing is so good to me that I literally made my mom read Never Lie by Frida McFadden. So this one that's coming out is called Dear Debbie. It is supposedly following our main character, Debbie. She's a mother of 2 kids and a wife, and basically all that I know is that she runs this advice column. When something goes astray, she kind of spirals and loses her mind and is like, hold on, I'm done with this advice thing. I'm done with taking the high road, and she ends up wanting to get revenge on every single person who has wronged her ever. So that's kind of what the plot of the book is, and I'm really excited. I know that I am the first person to take the high road, and I'm the first person to be like, oh, forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. But in a book, it is so fun to read about. I feel like I will read the book in like a day. That always happens with Frida McFadden books. If I start a Frida McFadden book, I have to make sure that I have time allotted where it's like, oh, I can just sit and read this book all day and not have to worry about it. The next book that I'm really excited for is actually one that I have never read something by this author. I've also never heard of this author, but when I was looking up 2026 new book releases, this one really stood out to me, and it's called Is This a Cry for Help by Emily R. Austin. Guys, I don't know what it is, but the second book covers the topic of grief, and the second it has something to do with our main character liking books, writing books, being around books. I'm sold. I feel like the second I read what this book was about, I knew that it was gonna be a good book for me. This book basically follows our main character who is a librarian. Now, someone in her life passes away and she has to kind of take a break from her work. So she takes a break so that she can deal with the grief, but when she comes back from her break, basically everything has changed. It kind of explained the book like it was a deep dive on grief, but also a deep dive on kind of how the book landscape is changing. So I'm really excited for this. This book's premise literally feels like it was carved out for me. Like no other person I feel like in the world was it carved out for except for me. I feel like I'm just gonna have a soul tie with the main character in this book, and I'm so excited. The next one we have is called Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. Now guys, I love my Elsie Silver, okay? I love her down. For some reason I'm simultaneously the biggest lover of Elsie Silver, but also the biggest hater of like small town romance books. It is really funny how those two things coexist for me. Honestly guys, I feel like the way that Elsie Silver writes her small town romances always do it for me. I do feel like though her books can get pretty spicy, so I kind of just like skip a lot of the book. On the other aspect, I love the way her characters are written. Guys, Elsie Silver is starting an entire new series. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding right now? And I have to talk about it, I just adore her Rose Hill Ranch series. This is the series that got me into Elsie Silver's books, and they're so good. But guys, a whole entire new series? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You don't understand how excited I am. The series is called Emerald Lake and it's the first book in the new series. The only thing that I will say is that I don't think I'm totally in love with the premise. Basically, the premise of this new book is that our one main character, the guy, he is, I think, a bull rider, and he also is living on his family's ranch. But then the ranch kind of is going into bankruptcy. So in order to save his family's ranch, he decides to sign up for a reality TV show. And our female main character is the location consultant, I believe it's called. Also his biggest rival's sister. I don't know if I'm in love with that premise. I don't know how this new series is going to pan out. If it's going to be the same as the Rose Hill Ranch series. I'm nervous. I'm very nervous to find out. Okay, the next book I have on this list is also one that I am a little bit nervous about because it's Just Friends by Haley Pham. I also know that one of you guys commented on one of my recent videos talking about how I need to read it when it comes out. Don't fret for a second, I will definitely be reading it. I adore Haley Pham so much. I actually watched her videos before she became a book YouTuber. My love for her runs so deep, but I am very nervous about this book. Some of the reviews I've heard aren't too great. I'm really nervous, but I know that I'm not gonna set my expectations too high for this book because especially with her being a first-time author, like, you can't expect her first book to be like top tier. The only things that I know about this book is it's a childhood friends to lovers type of trope. I know that at some point the characters will be together and then they'll break up and it'll be a second chance romance thing. I'm very excited, but I'm also very nervous. I'm kind of just nervous for how I'm gonna feel about the book because some of the ratings that I've seen so far of people who have like read the first draft of it aren't really good. But on the other hand, I know that especially as a reader myself, I like to go into things without any preconceived notions, so I'm trying to kind of throw all of those things out the window and just be okay with what the book ends up being. I'm nervous, but at my core, I'm very excited for it. The last book that I have on this list is called The Storm by Rachel Hawkins. Now, I've never read a Rachel Hawkins book, but I know that she's very hyped. She's a mystery/thriller author, and it's actually really funny because count how many mystery/thriller books that I put on this list, but yet I'm the first person in the world to be like, I can't read one. Constantly the first person to be intrigued by a mystery or a thriller book, but also the first person to be like, I can't do it. My anxiety is too high. Like, what? But this book specifically, I'm excited about because it follows a writer. As I've said already in this video, I love when one of our main characters has something to do with books. The book is set on a small coastal town, and then the writer ends up going there and having to investigate this murder, this famous murder that happened there. But instead of just the writer investigating the murder, the writer decides that they're going to take one of the main suspects of this famous murder and kind of take that person into the case and make them work the case with them. How fun is that? Really intrigued by this one, okay? Oh, anyways, with all that being said, that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this gave you some books to put on your radar for 2026. Also, definitely these books will be read in some reading vlogs in 2026, so look out for that. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to stick around and wait for those to come out, but also like, comment, and subscribe if you want to stick around for Vlogmas, because Vlogmas has been very fun, very chaotic, very stressful, but also I'm having the time of my life with Vlogmas. I have been enjoying reading your guys' comments every single day and posting every day, seeing you guys every day, talking to you every day. Like, there's one thing that I can do, it's talk, and nothing brings me more joy than talking to my camera. So, and especially when it's about books, don't even get me started. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow with a new video. I love you so much. Goodbye.